don't think people understand the level of domestic violence and family violence that a lot of these women that are made women or that are set that don't have to go through so many financial burdens and financial strains go through. I
Mhm.
don't think they understand dealing with what they call a high powered man sometimes entails. Those
Mhm.
women go through so much.
Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine Galloway, certified high performance coach, with another episode of the Resilient Mother podcast. Today, we're going to talk about I Can Resilient Attitude. That you can do anything you put your mind to is part of being resilient. And in motherhood, that takes on all sorts of different stories and forms. And we're going to share one of those today from the perspective of domestic violence, leaving and restarting your life. I have Ashley Jordan here, who is going to dive into this. Ashley, thank you for being here. Please tell us more about.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here with you just to share my story of resilience and hope hopefully possibly be a voice for someone else and show them that they can do the exact same thing that I have did and overcome what I have overcome.
Wonderful. How do you define resilience? Just to start out.
I define resilience as just not giving up. It's like that gnat that you get in the summertime that you try to kill, but um you can't defeat it. I feel like resilience is when you look everything that is meant to stop you in the eye and say, I promise you, I won't stop.
Mm.
It is a feeling more than a word that continues to manifest through your actions. When you check off one goal, it gives you the power to check off that second goal until you are exactly who you want to be. You're walking in your purpose and you're doing exactly what whoever said that you couldn't while looking them in their eyes, showing them that you can.
Mm.
That
Oh,
is resilience to me.
that is quite the definition, and I really resonate with it. I love that so much. So, you are a survivor of domestic violence. You've rebuilt your
Mhm.
life, and you have a nonprofit.
I
Please tell
do.
us some about that.
So, my nonprofit is called Advocates for Growth, Leadership, and Meaningful Independence. Um, my nonprofit helps young women just like me. And the way I sum it up is I try to be the woman that I needed at that time. I've been in 4 different domestic violence shelters between Florida and Georgia. And I ended up here in Georgia literally pregnant with children, one baby on my hip, children on my side, downtown Atlanta at the bus station, like asking for money because I wanted to get to my grandmother's house, which is about 2 hours away from Atlanta. And I got information about a domestic violence shelter. And I went to that shelter and I was motivated. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't, um, what is the perfect word? I wasn't intimidated. I
Mm.
was motivated. I feel like I found my purpose in that moment. There were people there, during the holidays, everyone is an advocate for November and December. And there's nothing wrong with that. Do what you are called to do. But in that moment, I wanted to ask. I'm coming up to the people and I'm like, how did you guys come in here and get to bring these toys and get to bring us hot chocolate? Like, this is what I want to do. And they were like, Ashley, you got to get out of here first. You can't do it right now. But in that moment, I found my purpose. And I
Mm.
knew that I wanted to be consistent with that. And I knew that I wanted to do that year round. And I knew that there was nothing that was going to stop me from helping women like me because I knew that they couldn't pay for the education that I had and the
Mm.
experience that I had.
Mhm.
So that's how we began. And it was small beginnings. It was um a lot of sleepless nights wanting to put together events. It was a lot of sacrifices for myself and my children because I wanted them to see a leader. I wanted them to see someone that was in control of my situation because they had seen so much negativity and they had suffered so much because of me. I wanted them to see me walk in a light where they could be proud. So I didn't care about anything else. Like I said, I found my purpose. So when we finally found permanent housing, and I remember that first Thanksgiving, and my babies were like, "Mommy, are you going to cook?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we're going to go to the shelter. We're going to cook at the shelter, you know?" And they were like, "The shelter?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know," and it was my dream. And I get that. It wasn't theirs. So they began to kind of tag along and understand what it was that I was trying to create. And in that, we stayed consistent. And with me staying consistent, I created friendships with the different people that, you know, were in leadership. And they would always tell me, you know, what you have, we came by. And what we want you to do is relate to these ladies, because the knowledge that you have, the experience that you have could get them from being a victim to being a survivor and walking in that purpose. And if you can do that here in this shelter where they only get 30 days, you can do that anywhere.
Beautiful. I love that you made your mess your message. I love people who take what they've been through and realize I have an opportunity to serve here. I have an opportunity to make a difference here. And I love hearing that. So I want to dive into domestic violence a little bit. Not everybody understands all the different aspects or definitions of it. You think black eye, you think you see a bruise. There are versions of domestic violence that do not leave scars on the outside, but they leave scars on the inside. So could you talk about that just a little bit?
Absolutely. So for me, I think it's very important to highlight, first of all, domestic violence can come in any form. It comes physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. So it's not just someone hit me. It could be someone putting you in a box and intimidating you to feel like you need them to keep control of a situation. For, you know, just let me just put it down there to start. I feel like a lot of times we get into situations and we get into relationships as women and we begin to have children. And us as women, we're nurturers. That is what we're here for. And we go into survival mode. And once we get into survival mode, we block everything else out, because now we have these humans that 100% depend on us. And we know that we're in this bad situation, but we have these babies that are so much more precious than anything else. So our goal is to make sure that no matter how bad it is for us, that they don't experience that and they don't see that. I like to highlight is leaving. Because once you take that step out, that's the biggest step. Once you leave and you are in that room, whether it's a shelter, whether it's a hotel room, whether it's at your mother's house because you went home, or your auntie's house or your cousin's house, and you're able to kind of sit and you think about the mess and you're able to see the mess from the outside looking in, because we're no longer in it. There is a depression and there is a guilt that can overtake a lot of women, because in the mess you don't see the mess that you made. I like to highlight the fact that there are women here to help go through that. You are starting your life over. Once you take that step and you go to that shelter, I don't care if you don't have but 10 days, you took that first step. So you chose to restart your life. You chose to take a different step. You chose to be in control of your destiny and your child's future. So a lot of times we don't talk about that. It's just domestic violence. He hit me. It's so much more than that. You have to relive everything that you went through. You have to experience those things, and you have to deal with the guilt that you put your loved ones, your family members, sometimes your parents, your siblings, through the exact same thing that you went through. And that is the hard part for me. That was the hard part for me. I felt so guilty. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so bad that I'm looking at this situation and I'm like, wow, I've been in this situation for 5 years. My son met him when he was 5, and now he's 10 going into preteen. Now my son is doing this, and he's going through this, and he's picked up these same behaviors, and I have no idea how I'm going to, change that mindset, because that's all he knows. The very person that I did not want him to come to be is the only man that he know how to be, because that was the only role model that he's had for the last 5 years. Now I have to work on not only my shame and my guilt, but I have to work on my child as well, because he's only 10, he's only 12, he's only 14, whatever. And this is all that he know. So what I like to do is mentor. I like to give them that stepping stool, and I like to give them that example that not only is it possible, but I'm going to help you, and I'm going to show you step by step, if I need to, how to do this. There's a lot of nights that you cry. There's a lot of nights that you are embarrassed. There's a lot of situations that you have to sit out. You have to sit out and make sure that not only your mental is okay, but your child's mental and your family's mental is okay as well. And that does not happen overnight. It takes consistency, and it takes you being serious about the change that you would like to see. It takes you being the example that you need for other women to get where you need to be, even if you're doing one thing. And that's what I tell my mentees all the time. If you can give me one example of something that you have done on a consistent basis, I meet with them once a week. So if you can give me one example of something that you've done, I don't care if it's waking up at 5 a.m. every morning because you were late for school. Your kids miss the bus every day because this is a new school system and it's a new time frame, and now you have to get up earlier. Give it a week. If I need to wake up at 5 a.m. with you to give you 30 more minutes to wake up, let's put on some music. You don't have to talk to me. Play the music in the background. But I'm up with you. I'm going to make sure that you're up. We're going to do it together. To get to 2 weeks and now you don't need me. Now you're calling me at 4:50 to make sure that I'm up, because we're supposed to be up. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I like to call it the domino effect. A lot of the women that I help, in return, help other women. A lot of women that I help are able to come into the same schools that I go into the same shelters that I go into, and they're able to speak, and they're able to speak clearly, and they're able to be leaders, and they're able to walk in their purpose, not feeling embarrassed because of what they went through, but using that same that same pain and turning it into power. And that's what I like to reflect on versus just domestic violence. We know, or family violence. We know what family violence and domestic violence does to a family. We know what it does to a woman. We know what it does to children. And ultimately, it's breaking that confidence. It's breaking your spirit. If you break that confidence and you break that spirit, it doesn't matter what it is that looks better that can come in, it's going to control you. And if you can't get in control of that, I don't care how many relationships you left, you're going to walk into the exact same thing. It's like a circle. You're going to attract that exact same energy, and you're going to be in those exact same situations until you stand up and you're able to control that. And you're able to say, I deserve better. I don't know what it is about me that was attracting that energy, but let me get in a quiet place with a journal and jot down what it is that I'm missing so I can heal that part of me. So I no longer even want that. I no longer even hunger for that type of relationship. I don't think that it's cute for you to control me. I don't think that you understand that a lot of women look at that as love. A lot of women look at that as, he likes me so much. I'm more focused on the healing aspect of the journey versus what you went through.
I love how you've made that appear doable. So we're talking about having a resilient attitude about it. And you could be stuck in victim mode, and that just leads you to being a victim again. You got to do the work. But you broke it out in a way where, one, you can have an advocate. You can have someone there cheering you on. And you start with one thing. Let's start with one thing. One thing. And maybe it is an hour at a time. Maybe it's a day at a time. but you start with one thing moving you in the right direction. And that's the change. That's the transformation that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Going towards the person you want to become. It is possible, but you have to tell yourself, I can. And if you can't quite tell yourself that, reaching out, having help, having someone to help on that journey is what it sounds like you're all about with your nonprofit. And I think it's beautiful because people are often like applauding people for leaving, but then they're forgetting that they also need support. Like when I was a birth mom, they're like, hey, good job. You set your child and yourself up for a better chance. And then there was no support after.
Absolutely.
Support in the transitions of these good decisions that women make to leave abusive relationships or to do the right thing. It isn't just, okay, you did the right thing.
It's over. It's sunshine and rainbows.
No, there's a whole time period there that they have to become somebody new. And
that's when it starts. Yeah. That's when it starts. I have a young lady. I have two different stories that I want to share with you, and I'll be really quick. I have one young lady that walked out of that. She was married. She had 4 beautiful children, but she had one husband. She had been married for 10 plus years. Her husband was a pillar in his community. She was the person that everybody wanted to be friends with on the outside, but she was broken on the inside. And when she left that situation, she could not grasp reality. She began to experiment in different drugs. I don't want to say hard drugs because I never put out, what they experienced. But she began to experiment in things that took that pain away. Alcohol, different things like that. And she didn't make it. She was there for 2 years. And in 2 years after she left that situation, all of her children were removed from her care.
Oh, no.
She no longer was able to take care of herself because she couldn't get over the guilt that she had put her children through that. And she could not face that. So she began to utilize different things that was a coping mechanism for her to feel better about the situations that she did. Or she would sleep. Most of the time when you drink and, you do different things, you go to sleep. She would sleep her days away. And she is still to this day in that situation. And that's unfortunate. And that's a lot of people. And your kids are only kids for so long. Yeah. So when your 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old that are looking up to you, telling you can do it, turn 12, 13, 14, and they're familiar with that behavior and they no longer want to be associated with you because they understand that you can do better, that's a different type of hurt. Piled onto what you're already feeling. And I don't want that for anyone. No. Versus a young lady that I had that started out in the shelter. I met her in the shelter and I brag about her all the time. And I remember her getting her place. I remember meeting her in the shelter and she was like, Miss Ashley, I only have 10 days. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm like, okay, I got you. We're going to help you find a place. To her finding her place. She calls me and told me she got her welcome letter. Of course, the shelter is going to relocate you, so you don't really have to worry about move-in costs. And she said, Miss Ashley, I'm all the way, and we're in Atlanta. So she's like, I'm all the way in McDonough. My job is in McDonough, but my house is in Duluth. Duluth is 45 minutes to an hour away from Atlanta in good traffic. She don't have a car. Duluth, Gwinnett County, you don't have public transportation. So how are you going to get there? You know what I mean? So I said, okay, I got you. She was a braider. She was able to do hair. She did beautiful hair. So we were able to partner her with another business owner that owns salons and show her how to become a business owner and really, walk in her purpose and do what she needs to do and make the income she needs to make for her family. And doing that, the first day she moved into her house, we always welcomed them with welcome packages. The small things when you move in, curtains, a broom, a mop, a few cleaning supplies, different things like that, pillows, you want to make sure that those things are covered. So I come in and I have my bags and I'm proud and I'm, congratulations. And she's crying. She's like, I'm nervous. I haven't paid a bill in years. My ex was the one that took care of all of this. And I'm like, girl, that's what you're worried about? We can fix that. So the first week, it was her children being late for school. her kids hadn't been in school for 30 days, or they were in school but they were in the shelter. But usually shelters are very structured, so you have people that are over you just coming to knock on that door, that's coming to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do. And she didn't have that there, so she was sleeping over. And it wasn't 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. It was 15, 20 minutes that she'll lay down, And I told her, okay, because you can't get up, I'm going to call you every morning. I'm going to call you at 6 a.m. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to say anything to me. Make your coffee, put on you some motivational music, put on you some YouTube. I'm going to do the same thing. But I'm going to stand in the gap, and I'm going to make sure that you're up and you get those babies ready. 2-3 weeks later, she was crying again. She had got that out the way. She didn't need that anymore. Now she's crying. She's like, Miss Ashley, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's what was it? My kids need. It was after school care. She was always afraid that she wasn't gonna be good enough. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. I get off at 5:30 and they have to be there at 5:45. I'm like, girl, that's all you need. I can help you with that. I'll help you pick your kids up. We'll do it together. And every week it was something so minor. And I had to sit her down and I remind her, I said, 3 months ago, you were crying because you couldn't get up in the morning. You were afraid that you weren't going to be able to live up to that mom status without somebody helping you. We're 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, and you're afraid that you're not going to be able to pay your salon suites rent, your booth rent for your business that you have created to take care of your family. I'm like, do you not see the growth? Are you not paying attention? Yeah. And to this day, it has always been something higher on the belt. She has not only went into shelters with me, she has took other women under her belt, and she still cry. We still have our weekly meetings. She still cry about something that she feels like she can't do. But my love for her comes from the fact that she is so resilient and not giving up. Yeah. She's so focused on doing better and getting to the next phase that sometimes she forget where she come from.
Yeah.
You were just in a shelter with your children and you're crying about furniture. We got a furniture bank for that. We can help you with that. You know what I mean? And so that's what I love to see. I love to see them walking in their purpose, because you're not going to walk into that apartment and it looks like someone on Instagram. Right. You're not going to walk into an apartment that looks like something out of a picture book from Pinterest. However, you were just in a shelter with your children. Mm-hmm. As you grow, you can swap out furniture. Mm-hmm. You can get what someone gave you and utilize it until you don't need it anymore. And when you're able to furnish your things and replace that, you can do that. But do you not see the bigger picture? And she was like, you know what? You're right. And I still have to tell her that to that day. But there are women out here that are literally on the floor, happy, sleeping on that air mattress, because they are now in their home, 3-bedroom home, 4-bedroom home, on the way to home ownership, making sure that they don't miss a financial literacy class, making sure that they don't miss an event at the school, when these women couldn't show their face in public because it was bruised.
Right.
I feel like that's resilience.
Oh,
those are the women that deserve everything. And if I could, I would give them everything. Mm-hmm. And that is my passion. That is what I love to do.
What's speaking to my heart with what you're saying is our children will only live up to what we live up to.
Absolutely.
And mothers are the foundation of society. We are raising the next generation. And for me, the resilient mother is about any mother who wants mm-hmm. to raise herself up and be the mother she always wanted to be. No matter Absolutely. What circumstances she faced, your motherhood's still sacred, no matter what it looks like. And it's still your motherhood, no matter what it looks like. And the fact
being
that
the mother
and that you want to be better, mm-hmm. give yourself some more credit.
Absolutely. Being the mother that you needed when mm-hmm. you were at your lowest, when mm-hmm. you're able to stand up, did not have that leadership, you didn't have that guidance. You made mistakes. You let your children down in some situations, but you had faith that you were letting them down because you knew that you were going to be better and you knew that they were going to be proud. And this little moment that they're disappointed now would not even matter. Now you're walking in your purpose to the point where they're so proud and they don't even remember the past, but you're doing it in a way that shows them resilience. You're doing it in a way that shows them strength, and you're doing it in a way that shows them who they are because they've seen who you are. I think that's what's important, and that goes across the board. It doesn't have to be domestic violence. It could be mental health. It could be being a single mom. It could be being a poor mom. It could be being a rich mom. I don't think people understand the level of domestic violence and family violence that a lot of these women that are made women or that are set that don't have to go through so many financial burdens and financial strains go through. I don't think they understand dealing with what they call a high-powered man sometimes entails. Those women go through so much. Those children see so much. And because of the fact that they're financially stable, a lot of people overlook them.
Yeah.
And the only difference is the mindset. What connects us all is the mind.
Oh, absolutely.
When we get in that room by ourselves, those thoughts, it doesn't matter if you have $1 million in the bank or you have $0 in the bank. Your mind will definitely tell, and it will definitely put you like what my friend will always say is it will definitely tell the strong from the weak.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you have, if you're in a mansion or if you're in a shelter.
Yeah. Abuse is abuse, period.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no room for it.
Absolutely.
You do not have to stand for it. Even if you're in a $1 million home, if your mind and your heart are broken by what's going on within the walls of what looks to be the perfect life, it's not.
It's still broken.
Life. It's not.
And
it's living a lie in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. And what's more important is that comes across on your children. And we all want our children to be better than us. We all want our children to walk in their purpose. And we all want our children to understand, that mommy loves you. Mommy did the best that she could. And for me, it's just important for me to show women that you are not alone. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your ethnicity is. I don't care what your educational background is. We need to stand in the gap for one another. And if I do not come off as a relatable person to you, I can guarantee you that I have a friend, I have a business partner, I have a cousin, I have a neighbor, somebody that you could relate to that could bring you to the other side.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, bridging the gap. I like how you really said that, because we often serve who we were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's who we serve. And that's how we get them to where we are faster. So they don't have to suffer the way that we suffered, that they can get through it with the right tools, the right strategies. And that's what I love to share here are the ways to
Absolutely. Do it. I think I had someone and they said that your trauma, or you stop growing where your trauma begins. Like, that's why there's so many young women that walk around with the mindset of a teenager because, they begin dealing with that trauma or, begin dealing with whatever obstacle that needed to overcome at that age. Whether it's 16, you start dating someone that's 23 because they were able to financially support you when your mom and dad couldn't. Or you begin to deal with certain things that age. And when you come off to other adults, they kind of look at you and kind of push you away or push you to the side because they don't understand the trauma that you're dealing with. When really you stop growing when you begin to deal with that trauma. And I just think it's important to stand in the gap.
Mm-hmm.
You honestly never know what another woman is going through.
Mm-mm.
I think for you to call yourself resilient, you have to stand in the gap. When they say that you can't help others until your cup is pouring over, it's like me holding the cup and I'm pouring water in it. And I'm pouring so much water in it that the cup begins to overflow. When that cup begins to overflow, that's when I'm able to help others. That's when I'm able to make sure that whatever I have extra, I can pour into someone else. Yeah. So when you're at a point in your life when you're able to do that, I feel like I don't care if it's the librarian that checks your children's books out or the young lady that works at McDonald's that you're nice to. Pay attention. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to those women that come to you multiple times, or this extra nice, or that some people may call thirsty. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They could be literally reaching out for help. You know? They could literally be asking.
Without a reason. I really believe in serendipity. I really believe that God puts people in front of you for a reason, just like this podcast, just like you being here. I love who shows up. I love who God sends me, because there's always a message that clearly needs to be heard, and it always fits whatever the theme of the month is. I don't have anything to do with that other than I put the opportunity out there, and I try to make sure I'm in a place where my cup is full and I'm ready to serve. But there was a time my cup was empty. There was a time I gave to the point I had nothing left, because I've been rewarded most of my life to do that. And a lot of women are. We're told to give and give and give and get rewarded for it and sacrifice. That doesn't work. You have to figure out what keeps filling you up, because eventually you find the thing that not only when you give, you get to receive at the same time. You eventually find flow. You eventually find that place where you found your calling, you found your purpose. And it's not just in motherhood, it's in who you are as a unique human being. You're only you in the entire universe. You're the only mother.
Like, that's your strength.
and so it's your story, but you got to remember you're the author, and to take back that pen sometimes and start rewriting it in the direction that you want to go. And sometimes that takes help. Sometimes it takes an editor. Maybe you want to put it that way as an analogy. And maybe there's some chapters you want to throw away, or you want to burn and you want to heal. But it's your story.
Absolutely.
No one gets to take that away from you unless you let them.
Absolutely. And what I will say is that as women, we are so serious about our appearance. We're so serious about the way people take us. And when people laugh at us or make us feel less than, it is personal. It is personal when you laugh at me. It's personal when you make fun of my past, or you judge me based off of something that I did when I didn't know who I was. You know what I mean? Yep. To call yourself resilient, those are the things that you have no choice but to block out. That whether it be family, sometimes family can be your worst critic. A lot of times you run into people that don't want to see you, or they're not even mentally capable of accepting you for who you are now versus who you were then. It's easier for them to keep you in that box.
Right.
Girl, I remember when Ashley was doing this. Oh, I know that's not Ashley talking. I remember when she was doing that. And the whole time you have outgrew them. You have passed them mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. And if you let them, they will play on your mental and bring you right down to where they are.
Absolutely. And you got to realize they didn't do the work. You've done the work.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I was going to say.
And if they choose to stay where they're at, they choose to stay where they're at. I'm just currently dealing with some family members in my life. I have tried and tried and tried to change the relationship. I finally have just accepted they're going to be who they're going to be, but I don't have to be who they think I am anymore. I don't have to let that get to me anymore. I get to choose that I'm okay with me and not let them ruffle my feathers. But also I'm in a place where they have no control. They
Exactly.
have to manipulate me. So why am I giving them any power? Why am I giving in?
And it's crazy because secretly they look up to you because they don't understand what it is about you that are able to get you from over here to over here.
Right.
And they need that. So sometimes you just being yourself is all you need. And that, if I could leave anybody with anything from this podcast, that's exactly what it is. It is, you are who you are for a reason. You went through what you went through for a reason. Do not utilize that as something that is hurtful, or don't utilize that or look at that in a negative light. Look at that as your power. Look at that as the very thing that's going to take you from point A to point B. Anything and anybody that you want to be is right over that hurdle of fear.
Yeah.
When I was in that relationship and we were homeless in Orlando, we were homeless. I remember, and it's crazy because I can laugh at it now. I remember staying in abandoned apartments or houses that were empty. We were squatting because we had nowhere to stay. And I remember being afraid, sleeping in like the master bedroom closet because, of course, it didn't have windows. So when the realtor came to check on the house, we had time to kind of scurry out the back.
Wow.
I remember that. Now, if you can imagine my family and different people knowing that and wanting to hold, thank God they don't, but people wanting to hold that over your head or keep you, girl, I remember this. You can't tell me nothing, this, that, and the third. Whole time, you have not only overcome that, your children have overcome it. They're excelling in everything they do. You're excelling in everything that you do, and they're struggling, all while pointing their finger, telling you what you can't do.
Yeah.
When you begin to be resilient and you begin to walk in your purpose, you have to kind of put that on, that cape on, and say, I don't care what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what I overcame. And I can help you do the same thing if you listen. If you listen and pay attention.
Remember, when somebody's pointing a finger at you, there's 3 pointing back.
Pointing back.
Coming from something about them. It's not about you. So come back.
Drown out the noise.
Always
drown out the noise.
Oh, and Ashley, you're such a beautiful example of that, because look how much you've stepped into your power and who you are.
Absolutely.
I love that you shared that with us today. And I
Absolutely.
think people don't even realize that they have the opportunity, but one person can make a difference. And maybe it's
absolutely
you, or maybe it's your child that you're raising, but one person can make a difference in the world. And even if you only made the difference in one other person's life or in your child's life, it's enough. You matter. You make a difference just by being you. But let yourself be you fully. Embrace it. Celebrate
it.
And just live it from day to day. And turn that page into that chapter that you're looking forward to, because it's there.
Absolutely.
Just waiting for you to turn the page. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Ashley. Where can people find you if they want to work with you or become a part of your nonprofit?
So we are in the shelters every month. We hit 2 shelters a month. You can find me at AGLMI.org or a girl like me 1 at Gmail. A girl like me 1 on Instagram, or a girl like me 2024 at gmail.com. We are always looking for volunteers. I am always looking for mentees. I am always looking for someone that just need a chat. You just need a conversation. You just need a hug. You just need reassurance that you are on your way and you are on your journey correctly. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I don't care if it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Someone from Advocates for Growth is going to answer that phone. And I can promise you that.
Oh, thank you so much. Audience, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I have.
I have. I want to continue. It's crazy.
I'll have you back again. So thank you, listeners, for being here and being with us. You want to continue the conversation? We're here. That's what this podcast is for. I want to create resources for every mother to find what you need to get to that next chapter that you see for yourself and for your family and for your children, to be that resilient mother that you always knew you could be, or that you want to be. We'll help you get there. We'll help you get to where you know you have that I can do resilient attitude. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Resilient Mother podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so we can share this message. We are a worldwide podcast with guests all around the world, and we want to continue to grow this community. You can find us on socials. You could also be a guest. Look for that link below if you'd be interested in being a guest on the podcast. If you know a sponsor or would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me or Catherine as well.
Sure. We want you all on this journey. We want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories. We want to gain strength from each other because together we're stronger. And to never forget the blessing of being a mother and what we're creating. We're creating the future every single day of our lives. So get on this train with us and let's do this thing, moms.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you around. Take care.